afternoon. I am here at Samjinae Village. It got that title, I guess you could call it, in 2007, making it the first slow village in all of Asia. Slow meaning that they actually do things the traditional way rather than using new machinery to create anything here or to do anything. And the creations that they make are mainly sweets. What I read was taffies was the main thing. But Samjinae, the name, comes from the fact that there are 3 creeks or streams that run through from Wobulsong, the local mountain. And the streams flow from west to east and help kind of create the way that the flow that the city is, apparently. All these kind of alleyways and everything will lead you around to show some like really different houses and traditional style homes here. This is what it used to look like back in the day, and they just have maintained it. And in case you're wondering, it is freezing right now. It's below 50 degrees. It's like in the high 40s. So it's quite cold. One interesting note, these walls right here are made out of mud and stone. And importantly enough, they wrote on their little note card deal that the lower stones are heavier to help reinforce the wall than the upper stones. So they went from heavy to light, which I think that's probably a good idea, particularly if it's just stone and mud. But I'm gonna go wiggle my way down these alleyways and see what I find. Hopefully, I'm not here to make any candy, but you can if you wanted to. But hopefully they'll sell candy and I could buy some and try some. That would be neat. Seeing how large the place is, I actually don't know how long I'm gonna be here. I think maybe the allotted hour that I gave myself might actually be too much, but we'll see what's what. It looks like I found something already, so be back in a moment. And welcome back. I am stepping away from Goje Juan's house, which is this one of the sights you're supposed to see when you come here, apparently. It was built in 1925, and actually for the time, it was one of the few homes in Korea that actually had everything within itself, meaning that most homes would have the toilet and a, they call it a grain house, which I'm assuming is like a storage place. That would be a little bit further from the house. They would be detached, is literally what this sign right here is saying. But because this house was actually before its time, it was actually all built as one unit. And I walked up to it. The road is actually quite muddy. I was slipping and you could clearly see my shoe marks going all the way up to the road, but it's locked. Padlock type of locked. And I guess that's just one of the things about coming here without an appointment, as well as coming here without any tour groups. I think being that it is a little bit later in the day now, they probably weren't expecting anyone. All I see are the residents moving around, and there is a cafe open that I'll probably hit up before I leave. As I walk these grounds, what's kind of interesting is that, okay, take this house right here for example, and I'll do some B-roll. This house, it is cool, but obviously no one lives there anymore, and it's nature has taken it back. And so I don't know if decrepit is the right word for it, because it actually looks kind of neat, but at the same time it's definitely not a house that someone lives in anymore, and it shows its wear and tear and it's falling apart. And the funny thing is, it's right next to a house that's actually looks in pristine condition, and I would kind of wonder if those type of houses, the one that's right next to this one, is the decrepit house that is, are going to hurt this village in keeping its title, because the one right next to it looks like a modern everyday house, whereas the one that's falling apart looks like a traditional, an updated traditional hanok, and you'll know what I mean when you see it, or as you see it. But the thing is that a lot of the places here look more like the decrepit house than the new house. And I wonder, for 2 reasons. One, obviously with Rona, there's a reduction in tourism. Like, I'm not even wearing my mask because there's no one around. I'm literally the only one here. I just saw another guy come out of his house, look at me, and then go back into his house. Like, that's the only other person other than these cars that drive by every now and then that I've seen. So that could definitely be hurting the economy here. And I'm not in the most convenient places to be. So, you know, having a car is kind of nice for these type of little journeys. Not to mention, today is cold. It's like I said, it's in the 40s. So I don't know if there's anyone that's going to be coming on out, even on a bus tour, to try to see this type of stuff. But it's nice, and I don't know if this is part of it or if it isn't part of it. You know, without a tour guide, you never know. Maybe this is some like historic house that they're waiting on money to restore or something like that. Who knows? Anyhow, gonna do a little bit more exploring, and then I'll check back in. And welcome back. I just found a really nice tea house. It's open, and it had this like ivy lined gate that I walked through, and all of a sudden it just opened up into like this really nice garden, and in the guy's house is actually like a tea place. To the left was a area where you go order, and then to the right was the where you sit down and drink or eat. So yeah, it was pretty amazing. Like, it was really like just pretty, for lack of a better word. It just seems so plain to say that it was pretty. But that being said, I then walked around it, and you know, beyond its walls, like what I'm walking right here, it's not so pretty. Again, it's definitely the economy. Like, I walked by another hotel, and that hotel was like renovating. Like, you could clearly hear the hammers and everything going on in the background, and you could see the construction materials up front. But one kind of cool thing is there's a huge field right here, and unlike at the bamboo forest just now, I don't hear fighter jets over the head anymore. So I'm gonna go grab my drone, put it up in the air for a moment or two, and see what I can see, and then I'm gonna probably go grab a cup of coffee. But I'll be back in just a moment here. Let's see what the old DJI drone says. Am I allowed to go up or not? Be back in a moment. Ah, it's so cold. Going to a garden now. I think I'm going to a garden. It's starting to sprinkle a little, and the clouds towards the direction that I'm going, they look pretty dark. I just took a maybe 20-minute breather at a cafe over here, which is really nice. I got a coffee crumbled cheesecake and a cup of coffee. The interesting thing about the cheesecake was they put corn in it. So I was not expecting that. It was good. It just had a crunch that I was trying to figure out for the longest time. Like, what's going on here? Anyhow, I'm all set with the slow city. This is one for the books. Like, this is not somewhere I could suggest, and that's why I mean, it's like everything so far has just been so good that this one is like one of those ones where if someone's like, do I have to go here? I'd kind of be like, well, you can kind of skip it for now if there's something more important that you feel like you want to do. And that's kind of sad for me to say, but it is the truth. Yeah, an hour here is more than enough time. So that's it for this. Let's head on out to the next spot and see if it doesn't rain or hopefully even gets warmer. Although typically when it gets darker, it doesn't do that, right? Anyhow, I'll check back in the next video.